This week we begin reading the second book of the Torah, the book of Shmot, or Exodus as it's known in English. We are introduced to Moses and the people of Israel as slaves in Egypt. And we find Moses' call to become leader of the people in a very dramatic event at Mount Sinai. We're all familiar with the episode of the burning bush, and it raises a question in our minds as to how we would respond, or how a religious leader should respond when being obviously called to service by God. Moses is told by God from a voice, through a voice from the burning bush, to take off his shoes, to come forward, to prostrate himself on the ground, because it is holy ground. And then God tells Moses to go lead the people out of Egypt, ask Pharaoh, tell Pharaoh, let my people go. Moses, instead of being transformed by the experience and being motivated to do God's will, argues with God instead. And Moses is not the first one that we find in the Torah to argue with God when obviously having a dialogue with God. Abraham famously has a discussion with God about whether Sodom and Gomorrah should be destroyed, because Abraham says, what if I find righteous people there? Would it be right for you, God, to destroy the city? So Moses might be aware of that sense that it's okay to discuss and even argue with God. And what does that say for us as Jews reading the Torah? What is the religious message that we're supposed to get from this? Is our relationship with God supposed to be as a king-subject relationship? Or should it be more of a sense of understanding and discussing and figuring out what exactly God wants from us and how we can best do that? I think that the story of Moses at the burning bush teaches a very clear lesson that we don't take things for granted in life. We need to authenticate the message, and we need to argue about the message. We need to internalize the message and respond to it in a way that is comfortable for us so that we can live up to God's will. I think that is the message from the burning bush, and may we always be confronted by our tradition so that we can argue with it, discuss it, and internalize the message. Shabbat Shalom.